So right now for me, it is Wednesday, the 3rd of September in the UK, in lovely, wet and cold London. It is 11:41 at night. For Devilwalk, it is
The fourth.
12:41 on the 4th of September. This time, you're the one who's ahead of me. We don't normally have that. It's not normally this time of the pond for me. So that's a
True,
first.
true.
That works. No, maybe not a first. Was America? I don't know how time zones work. But anyway, it's episode 24 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. We're grinding through it all. In today's episode, we're going to cover, obviously, a lot of Blast Online London preview. Like, just have a look back at that. Review of Blast London. And then
Yeah,
go into
review.
our preview of the finals. Obviously, we're going to the arena. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll just touch on our predictions for the opening matchups.
All
Because we
right.
both got one wrong, right? We both messed up a little bit.
Different
So
ones.
different ones, yeah, different ones in here. So Vitality M80, we both got that right in Vitality. Game Legion versus Virtus Pro. You went Virtus Pro, you fell for that same old trick again. Yeah,
Yep.
Virtus Pro just they'd love to do this to
I'm
people.
over Virtus Pro now.
Finally, it's only taken us half a year, 9 months.
But they're so good at giving you hope all of a sudden, like randomly. Like they do one good event, they start to look better,
Yeah.
then they just fall flat again. And
Yeah.
it's annoying to predict because they could literally win against anyone and they could
By the way,
lose
I
against
can't wait to
anyone.
talk about them later. I cannot. When we get onto the actual results of the whole tournament, I cannot wait to talk about them later. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, I did pick Gamer Legion, and I'm happy I picked that. We both picked FaZe over Ecstatic, which is positive. FaZe looking better. Navi, Fnatic. We did both pick Navi, but you said Fnatic would get one map. Didn't happen.
Yep.
Mouse
They were
Imperial
close.
both went Mouse. Now, this is, by the way, I'm even going to say I was completely like, I am an absolute idiot. G2 Liquid. You picked G2, I picked Liquid. I could have gone for clean every game correct if I just used my brain. I put too much faith and belief in Flashy, and he's not even playing. He's the coach. There's only so much this guy can do with this team. So yeah, G2 beat Liquid. So I failed that one. Spirit FlyQuest, it was an obvious Spirit. Furia Legacy, we both went Furia. We like what we're seeing there. Then
Yep.
qualifying teams, it gets wild because we picked exactly the same. Oh, and should we tell people now, Devilwalk,
About
how we're going to do predictions and our thoughts
yeah,
going
we're
forward?
changing the way we do predictions. So right now we've actually we've had this kind of like, oh, you're following me, you're copying my answers kind of deal.
Yep.
So we're trying to eliminate that now. So we've already done our predictions. We've written it down, sent it to our producer. So we don't know each
Yes.
other ones, but our producer knows what we have already predicted, and we'll go through
Yeah.
it as it comes in kind of the same way, I assume, where we just kind of read out
Yeah.
our text message later in the show.
And this means that like there's no more Devilwalk says something and I just agree with him, or I say something
Yeah.
and he agrees with me. This is we've already done this without talking, and then we'll just have to come back onto it all. Oh, actually, do you know what? I'm going to take this moment to say shout out Jason Moses O'Toole one time. He recommended me, I don't know if you can see it, but this mic stand. So my mic now is no longer 6 foot in the air because my mic stand was so huge. This is now much more small and grounded, actually lighter for my suitcase as well. So shout out to him one time, come with a recommendation because this is far better than the one I had before. You know the mic stand I had before for travel had a base weight, like a big circular weight, and it was
Yeah.
1.5 kg in my suitcase or my backpack every time. So this is million times better. This is great. I'm very happy.
So now your wife can fit in a lot of new dresses.
She can buy more stuff to put in the suitcase. Yeah, definitely. So qualifying teams, right? Group A, we both said Vitality, Navi, VP, and Group B,
Yep.
we both said Mal's, Spirit, Furia. Group B, we did a lot better on. Obviously,
Yep.
Spirit didn't make it through, which is a huge shock. Navi and VP. Why did we both get into the source of VP?
I
Like,
don't
what
know. I don't
happened to
know.
us? Did we just start believing Perfecto was going to change it all?
I
Oh,
mean, they've obviously not changed at all. They've made changes now, but a little bit too. I don't know what happened. I feel like I don't know. It looks like I've convinced you into the VP train in this episode, because you didn't
Because I
even
predicted
predict
they'd
VP
lose the
to,
first map
yeah. The first game you
match.
predicted them to lose, and then you went on to
Yep.
predict them to qualify, which doesn't make sense at all. That they would. You predicted essentially a lower bracket run from
From the
VP
first
to
round
win the
lower bracket.
final.
When you say it like this, that's why I said I'm really stupid. Like when you say it like this, I am the dumbest of dumb. But because what I did made no sense. So I just played myself from the very beginning. We both did back then say the overall winner of the whole event will be Vitality as well. So
Yeah.
let's start going through this, right? Let's start going through. I'm just looking down the team list. I'm going to touch on. I'm going to quickly brush over some teams. Tell me if you want to talk about them in any more detail. But like Ecstatic, Legacy, Imperial, I haven't really got too much to say on those three. They went
Oh,
out
I
in 13th to
mean, no.
16th place. There's no real surprise. I'll just say this:
I'll say one
Legacy.
thing
Okay.
about Ecstatic. I
Oh
think
yeah.
if Ecstatic had an like competent Oper for tier one, they would have
Mm-hmm.
won the game against FaZe. I think,
True.
unfortunately, Christo had a terrible showing,
And then got
which,
kicked.
yeah, eventually made him lose his spot in Ecstatic,
Yep.
because he was not relevant at all during this game. And it was a really close game. They had 13-10 versus FaZe, win on overpass. They got 13-0'd, but brought it to overtime, the third map on Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, some of those players looked really, really good, and it could have, you know, eventually, FaZe went on to qualify for the event in the upper bracket final. So
Yep.
that's not a bad result from Ecstatic, even though, obviously they got kind of
Just
battered
need a
by
little bit
Fnatic
more. Yeah.
um, in the lower bracket run. But there's still, good signs that they could compete against someone like FaZe in that manner, especially with your Oper not showing up on maps like Overpass and Dust 2 in the pool.
Which are both great maps for Warpers. So yeah, yeah,
Yep.
not it makes sense why they made the moves they did make. I'm gonna give a couple of things on the legacy situation because at Austin, obviously it was a breakthrough event, right? Everyone was hyped about them. Oh, this is gonna look like a new Brazilian team coming up. That was the high point, and ever since then, it's been like them not playing up to standard or up to maybe what people were expecting. But where I don't think it's so much they've fallen off. I just think they had a big overperformance at Austin, and now it's more like a reality check. But like then they lose to FlyQuest as well, and I feel like that's a game at least where they should have had more of a footing. They did take a map off Furia, and they took a map off FlyQuest, but they didn't
Yep.
wow me in any way this time. That wasn't just one moment where I'm like, yeah, Legacy, let's go kind of thing. But they're going to obviously, when they start losing VRS points as well, they're going to get hit by that and go down the rankings and not get so many invites to events as well. So maybe they need to have a performance again good at the major to see themselves do well.
They seemed like a
Imperial,
really, really momentum-based team in general, Legacy. Like if they have a good start, they,
yeah,
they can kind of roll with it. But if they get shut down early, they just keep struggling. And I mean, apparent in this tournament.
definitely. And then Imperial, I'm not going to be too harsh on the team because they just brought Skulls in. And when I did the interview with them, they said like they had 5 days of practice with Skulls coming in. But they also did remove one of their, like, if you look at all their results they played against other Brazilian teams or South American teams, with SHR, who they removed for Skulls, they were owning. They were qualifying for everything. And then you add Skulls. Now, the whole thing Skulls said was there was a way that this could work. He wanted to go.
Yep.
Really said that Imperial had the chance to get him and they wanted to sign him before, but they couldn't. So when they knew they could, they just wanted to make that change. But it's like, you should have just waited because you probably would have done better with SHR and maybe you just want some more officials or something. But it's like, SHR wasn't bad. So and maybe just because they didn't agree with him, or maybe
So
they
you,
just
do
really
you
wanted
mean do you
Skulls
mean
really
that like they,
badly.
they should have done a little bit more like the Spirit situation currently, where they kind of like
Yeah.
leave him a little bit of time to kind of get into the groove of things as they prepare for the change in the right moment, rather than just instantly switching him, right?
Yeah, just choose a better timing for it,
Yeah.
because I feel like they could have done more at this event or shown better face. if they were able to do that. Obviously, their overpass looked good, but that was about it. That was all there was to sing their praises about. But that's a quick way to breeze through those teams on it. Then we need to talk about the only other 13th to 16th place team, Virtus Pro. And
Yep.
my God. Now, I'll say this, right? For anyone who doesn't know how these kind of things work, I think no matter what result they got, unless maybe they won the whole of Blast Open London, they were already planning to kick Electronic. That's what I would think. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
we've criticized him a lot in even
yeah.
this podcast. He's been criticized for almost the entire year for his kind of leading style and how it seems to, because we're still doing guesswork at the end of the day, but it seems like he's affecting the young players. They're in a negative way. He's
Yep.
not really bringing them up. He almost yells at them, and the calling hasn't been great either. I even saw a stat where it was,
Hmm.
I think that if you go on HLTV even right now, on the main page, there's like a short. BT Rams release Clawback Boso 2.0. And essentially, this is losing or getting killed, which eventually, in advantage situation, ends up in round losses. So if you have an entry, for example, and you get killed and
Yep.
then you eventually lose the round, Electronic is the worst player on the entire list. So
Oof.
he has in, I'll just read out the actual.
Yeah, give us the
Uh,
numbers.
so they basically have a system of clawbacks and bosos. Bosos obviously is the, if you are in an advantage and you get killed and you eventually lose the round, you get a
So you
boso.
had a
If you get a
5v4,
clawback
or
is,
if you had a 4v3 or something like that,
yeah, exactly. And then you have the clawbacks, which is essentially the reverse, that you're in a disadvantaged position
you
and you
still
bring
turn it
it
around.
back with a kill.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly this. So this is like 0.5 bosos per half he has. So one per game, essentially.
Yep.
And he has Invertus Pro 4 clawbacks and 23 bosos. So 23 rounds he has lost that kind of opening death in an advantage situation,
Yeah.
which has ended up with him. Funnily enough, fourth on that bad list is Perfecto with
He's
22
got less
ones.
sample size around him though, right?
Yeah, but he has more clawbacks compared to the
Which would make sense.
approximate.
Give
Yeah.
but wouldn't that also make sense with how some of this works of those stats based on their position and role?
Yes, obviously that
Yeah.
does have an effect, but usually the in-game leader is in a bit more of a free role,
Hmm.
or at least you want them depending on the map. Mirage, this is everyone's B anchor is is the in-game leader, but on T side, for example, you're usually the guy, in a more free role and setting, trying to kind of set up your best players.
But
But
so
that's, yeah, damning
what's
evidence. There's a good switch.
what's crazy here about VP, right? You lose the game Legion, okay, one thing. Losing to M80, obviously they've qualified for London. I'm not going to take anything away from them, but you just look at the players or the fact that it's a CIS team in Virtus Pro, you would expect better. Yeah. But they
Yep.
lose that game and then instantly Electronics said bench. Now, for everyone out there, it 100% would have been decided anyway before this tournament, most likely, right? That's how I can imagine it going. Um, we got to remember as well, both Flit and Fame were at one point rumored to want to try and leave the team. I don't know if that's because of Electronic. I don't know if they just want to go play maybe with Jame again or something. But then
Well, it's
Perfecto
obviously
joins and
they
everything
they
seemed,
didn't believe in the team enough to
yeah.
be competitive at the standard they wanted. So
But they get Perfecto, they stay, yeah. Obviously, Perfecto when he first come in wasn't great. He's still just trying to find his way. He's had a year out of competition, which is always hard to come back on.
yeah.
But then you remove Electronic, you put Perfecto as IGL. You've still got Flamus on the bench that you don't bring back into the team. And I will credit VP for one thing. So they bring in Toro, or however you say his name. from the academy team.
Yep.
Virtus Pro Prodigy has been existing since 2020, so 5 years now, and they have never ever used one of their academy players to the main team.
Yep.
Never
But
have they taken one. So this is
do
the
you
first
think this
time.
is a do you think this is like a they promoting this guy as a temporary thing whilst they try to find someone else? Or do you think that this is like Toro is the real deal? We want him. He's the new star player of VP, you know?
Well, I definitely don't think he's gonna be the new star player. Looking at like he wasn't even the star player of Virtus Prodigy.
Well, I mean, they must have some belief in that he can.
Yeah, that I think this is a stopgap. I think this is a waiting. And maybe there's some potential other changes this team might make. But
Yeah.
one thing I would love to see is if, however Perfecto is going to lead, if Icy is going to be able to perform better under him. Because Flip Fame, I can always rely on to do some stuff. Sometimes they have a bad game, like anything. But Icy is like sometimes a non-factor in games.
Yeah.
He has maybe one pop-off game in a series that they win. Sometimes it's just pop-off game when they're not winning, and it looks pretty bad. But if someone can unlock him or let him play a bit more like how he wants to play, then I can get interested. But for now, I'm so out on Icy. Like I don't know what else he can do because you see glimmers of him looking okay, but I'm not sold on him. But I will say it was a funny narrative to just have like M80 beat VP, which causes electronic
I
benching.
mean,
It's not funny that he get benched, as you know.
just for context of M80 and how bad VP must have felt this loss was. Because if we even look back to the major, I'd say
Yep.
M80 is probably in my top or like bottom four teams worst at the major. That's how I would categorize them. I don't even think I'm being unfair because if you actually look at the major, I thought they were, I predicted them to go out in pretty much the first stage, 0-3.
Mhm.
I had them really, really low. I have to give them, the roses or whatever you flowers or whatever you say
Flowers.
in
Yeah, yeah.
English. Because from going from that position to playing this good, because they played good, they played really well.
Yeah.
Um, hats off because it's a major turnaround and it's good Counter Strike. If they're playing beautiful Counter Strike, and they have players popping off, they're even winning when some of their players aren't doing anything at all, but they're playing as a unit and as a team, and
And
it's nice to watch.
they also like when they come into this, they had a lot of inflated stats. Obviously, Hexter's come in, right? And
Yep,
the one thing I kept saying about Hexter was I've seen us get hyped about him a little bit before when he came onto teams and then it didn't live up. I know he's very positive, he's very vocal as like a person, as a player to have as your
yep,
teammate, but something is working there because he had some crazy good games. And individually, they looked sharper.
yep.
And remember, at some points they were playing North American games, yeah, from the UK, from a boot camp in the UK where they were playing the Open London online part,
Didn't they win?
and they did win on like 100 plus ping.
That's actually
Obviously, you can
insane.
say it's against North American composition, but I don't care. That's ridiculously good. Like, that's actually very good. So they were grinding, they were lacking sleep, and then they were still getting these wins. But we'll come on to M80 later because obviously they'll
Yeah, yeah,
feature into it. Some of the other teams we need to look at. Um, we'll start with Gamer Legion, I guess, because this whole point of 9th to 12th, other than FlyQuest, who I think, cool, you did like you'll take that for now. Um, Gamer Legion, the way they lost to Fnatic is the only thing I have a problem with. Like I expected them to be more competitive against Fnatic. They could have won Train. Ancient was more like I felt like it would have gone the way of Fnatic. But
yep.
Jambo on Fnatic side, we'll talk about him later as well. He was just owning him as some entry AWPer. Cypher was playing really well as at the same time. And I don't know. We spoke about Kersey before,
But
and
this
I'm
is
not
an
gonna say he's
online.
yeah, it's all
Like,
online.
so we talked about Kersey, obviously.
Yep.
That he hasn't quite really hit the mark with Gamer Legion. He's had underwhelming performances, and we've kind of taken it to the path where is he not really, comfortable with, crowd or studio environments where you hear other teams and screams and,
Yep.
all the other pieces around the playing an actual event. But this is actually an online event where, this should be his time to shine and actually, show everything. How convinced are you about Kersey right now, having to see him both in kind of in a LAN environment and now I would say underwhelming performance again online?
Yeah. I expected him to play better online.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, everything else had gone away from you, but now I don't know. I'm not trying to defend him, but I'll just say this: you were put under the microscope because you come onto Gamer Legion, which obviously was on the rise at the first half of the year, right? And I'm thinking, okay, online's where you can play better. But what seemed to happen is that obviously there's a lot of pressure on him. Maybe he knows he's being focused on. Yeah. Maybe he knows that he could be at risk of being kicked. And then that fear carried through. Now that's me giving him a chance, but maybe
Well,
he just can't play at this level.
to be fair, that's the reality for every single competing Counter-Strike player in the entire world. That's
Yeah, but some can
lit
handle it better than others.
Yes, and obviously there's some struggle. I don't know what it is, but he must have been in teams before where he did, there's a competitive aspect. If you don't do great, you'll be kicked. That's the
Just
end of
not
the
at this
day if
level.
you're not bringing it. But I actually said, I mean, even the first time I saw him, I felt like
Mhm.
he did not nail the positioning quite right. I felt like he was
Oh,
over
you wait a sec. You said he went
showing
over
your
too
body.
far. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
was
yeah. I
like
remember. I
showing
remember.
his body way too much or being in position. It's kind of like, you're holding a position and you're way out. Like on Nuke, let's say you're under heaven and you go up the stairs and you're holding like T red yard main and you're kind of peeking there. And then you just pick up your knife and go. There's like a 2 second window. If someone peeked, you're just dead. And
Yeah,
you have to eliminate these small things in the top tier scene of Counter Strike because you are going to get punished. And if it
yeah,
isn't this game, it's the next one because they have analysts, they have coaches, they're going to see your patterns and they're going to abuse it instantly. So I think if he doesn't realize these things, like you don't take anything for granted. You don't go and clear and while in the open, assume it's going to be clear for another 2 seconds. You walk slowly back and then you take the knife when you're fully safe in the rotation, or you just speed up and make the rotation much faster. But you can't be
yep.
in this like sneaking mode, releasing your scope and being in a vulnerable position. And I think these are the kind of things that kind of stand out when I look at him in eye
Mhm.
test wise. I don't think his skill is bad. I don't think his like shots are missing that like much.
He misses
Like
some easy shots, bro. He misses some real
everyone
easy
misses
shots.
shots, but I think that
Yeah,
he's
but
been
I mean,
exposing himself way too much. And
mhm.
that's why he's dying because I think missing shots, that's fine. You get another chance
Okay,
if you're not exposed. But if you're
I'll
exposed, you're
say
done.
this. I'll say this. With what you said, that's one thing. But there's also this Game Legion thing. We praise them on finding these new players, bringing new talent into the team, right?
Yeah,
And then obviously some players have been very successful and they go on to other teams from Game Legion. We give Ash a lot of credit for that. But with his AWPers, even when they were doing really well, it's not been great. So I'm just wondering, maybe his look for an AWPer or the way they want to use an AWPer is not right, or they haven't found the right AWPer for what they want to do. That
yeah.
could just be a factor because we can praise Ash and we give him all the credit he deserves for certain things, but maybe on this particular situation, this role, he's not quite there.
I think he's
That's
not
that's that's
quite
my
there
last thoughts.
because, I mean, you can clearly see Gamer Legion. They go into games and they have a good game plan. They know what they want to achieve on the server, and they look good. And they do this, a lot of
They need to be
times. They've
so
obviously
careful.
had a little bit of a slump, but you can
Mhm.
see a clear idea of what they want to achieve on the server, and they're annoying to play against, even for the top teams. But
But
having a good AWPer is a must.
Yes.
Like it's absolute a
Yes.
must if you're gonna. I remember even when we were playing in Godsend and we brought in Farlig for Michaelele, and this
Mhm.
was I'll give Michaelele a little bit of he's a
Oh,
good
no, don't
friend of
feed his
mine.
ego.
No, but he was stressed. He was really stressed. He'd gone into the wall. He was like broken down mentally at that point. So his performance obviously dropped.
Mhm.
So we looked to replace him essentially,
Yep,
and it was only because if we compared AWPers to AWPers, every single team above us would win the AWPing battle. And I think
yep,
that's where you look at Gamer Legion. They're in that situation. If you just look at the ranking, right? And just blast it up. Like who are you going to bet Cursey against in the teams above them? Or
let
even
me have a
the
look.
five below them?
Are you looking VRS right now?
Yeah, I don't have it
Valve
up, but
ranking?
that was
Yeah,
essentially
let me see, let me
our
see. Um,
our kind of thought process about it. Like who is he going to
yeah,
beat out of these
like
teams?
even look at this, right? So if I look at G2, some Pius, even with some Pius not performing so well, still a better AWPer.
Yeah.
Device a better AWPer. G from Tyloo a better AWPer. Brokey a better AWPer. Wonderful's a better AWPer. Macca's a better AWPer. Molodoy is. Box, yeah, there's no one above them where they're not there's no one
So then you can
above
ask
them
your
where I'm putting
question
that
if
AWPer's
if it's
better.
so vital to have such a good AWPer in a team, or at least that an AWPer where it's not too obvious that they are worse.
Hmm.
You can climb the rankings 100%.
Yeah.
But if you're in the situation where we're looking at every single team, and I'll even point out some of the AWPers, I think even Ultimate is a better AWPer. I think that
Yeah. That's
um
not crazy to say. That's fair.
no, even I see, like there's teams below them that have a better AWPer.
NQZ.
Yeah, than Gamer Legion. I think it's really tough to start climbing ranks if you
Hmm.
cannot fall back. Ash doesn't make the perfect game plan, or something goes wrong in their prep. They need AWPer to step up, and he's not there because he's
The
gonna
game
lose every
changing.
single AWP battle in your mind.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's not good enough. Like if they want to climb ranks, they're gonna drop ranks at this point, even if they're performing well every once in a while.
Yeah. All right. From Game Legion, because we need to keep things moving. Otherwise, we will end up with a crazy long podcast once again
Yep.
on just doing the online stage. Um, Liquid, who desperately need every win possible because of where they are in the VRS, right? They are at risk at the moment because they're playing, remember, European invites.
Yep.
So on the Valve ranking, they're 28th right now. So they lose to G2. They beat Imperial, but Imperial, there's a world where Imperial could have won that game and they lose to Spirit, not making it to LAN. Obviously, that's a factor of not having. They got super unlucky having to play Spirit going down to the lower bracket. But I'm just seriously concerned, and I don't think this Liquid team is fully working.
No,
I
it's
think
not
there's
fully working. They have the glimmers now, though. They have the maps where even pushing Spirit to overtime on Dust 2. Yeah,
Dust
they
2.
lose it, but it's still it's close, and it's against one of the best teams in the world. I think that's like a really good result in a weird way for a team like Liquid, who is ranked 19. Because if you look at Liquid in the light of like a Gamer Legion, right?
Yeah.
It's not bad, you know?
Um, I disagree
Okay.
because I will say that obviously I'm looking at name value when I think of maybe not Naf in his current form, but let's say Twist, Shuei as a leader, Nerds,
Nerds.
I'm expecting more. We've seen what Ultimate can do, but I need to check where did Ultimate hit on the end of the event?
We had a
Ultimate was
really bad
like,
game against Spirit.
dude, yeah, like he Ultimate ended the whole tournament with less rating than Shuhei did.
Yeah, that's really bad.
And it's online,
That's
whatever, cool. But I mean, we've seen Ultimate play so much better than that. And by the way, I'm not putting this on him. There's obviously a lot going through the team on trying to find the way they want to play and agree on things. But like, there's also now all this huge pressure, probably from the organization as well, about trying to make the major. They're going to have to go to these smaller lands, like some of these other tier two lands that are on the circuit, to get some points. And sometimes we get a Nerds game, sometimes we get a Twist game. Against lesser opponents, we also get a NAF game every now and again. But like, for me, they're on the big red flag mode. Like, I'm worried about what's going to go on with Liquid because
Yeah, I mean, I think they have bought themselves a little bit more time, just because they've, obviously had some results against Vitality. Yeah, they keep losing the games, and they have to eventually find a way to win them.
but it doesn't
But
help them with
they've
the
been
VRS. Doesn't help them with points.
close, and as you say, the VRS is vital. I mean, for the
Hmm.
organization, for their, continuation to kind of bet on top tier Counter Strike, in a sense.
Yep,
It's a must for most organizations to qualify at least for a major.
definitely. We'll see though. We'll see how they can get on at some of these other events in there as well. But they're just running out of chances. They're running out of time.
Yep.
Um, in the same category as Liquid, by the way, Navi. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. Started off great against Fnatic, but you would expect that, right? Um, playing phase, Inferno was the cider. We didn't even get to Inferno. It
No.
was okay.
This was a
Blade can
crazy
say,
game though. Like if
yeah,
Brokey had so many crazy clutches. And by the way, Brokey he's freaking on fire. Something happened to him when he
okay.
got
Let me
kicked.
ask
Like
you: is he back? Is this
he's
like
100.
officially he's back?
This is the best Brokey I've seen, I think.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I think that he is more X
Okay.
Factor now. Because yeah, I don't know. There's something about him right now. He just plays out of his mind.
He,
And
he sat there going, "Don't put me back on the bench. Let me keep
no, but
playing."
like something happened to him because he's consistently their best player in games. Like
And
he
also,
is,
he's making his confident moves again. I kept saying
yes,
this that like the Brokey last, I don't know, last times we saw him play was almost like a shell of himself, you know? Like you would see he would have moments he could try and go for these plays, but if I'm talking about the eye test here, I'm talking about watching him. He might still go for this clutch, but you can kind of see he's not doing it in the old Brokey way. We used to
yeah,
call it Brokey BS, yeah? And it's like one of those moments that's unwinnable, but he'll manage to do it. We've seen loads of Brokey clips from that. Memorable moments from his career. There's the one on Nuke, for example, and he almost pulled off another one during this tournament. And now I'm seeing him go for those plays again with that same confidence, that same energy. And I'm like, oh, it's so good to see. It's like, and even if he doesn't win them all, yeah, he's trying. And maybe the team believes in him and he believes in himself. And that is such a huge, like we always talking about confidence is important in Counter Strike,
yeah, yeah.
but it's like he was doing this to my Navi team, right? I felt like when he got that Mirage clutch on him, by the way, didn't knife that guy, then goes in to get the 3K, plays it perfectly. Normally, I was expecting him to go for the knife or something, yeah, but instead he gets to play it out like that. After that Mirage one, I thought, oh no, like Navi's so done for. And then he gets that other one on Dust 2, where like, admittedly, people love to point out, you saw the Dust 2 one, right?
Yeah, it's when they
So,
already won the round. They start
yeah,
chasing when the bomb is just recently planted. I This
yeah, but
is one of the
let me
this
ask you
is
this
one.
though, before you get into it, I have to ask you this, right? Wonderful. Everyone said like, "Oh, he made a mistake,"
No,
but yeah, thank you. I'm glad you said no because I'm like,
Wonderful
where
did
he was
nothing wrong in
positioned,
this clutch.
yeah,
Like
he had to do
honestly,
this.
honestly, obviously Bit is at fault here. There's no other thing. You're the only defender on that line. You push forward, you go for hunting. I'll let you know this. When you're in a game and from a coach's perspective, I always say,
Yeah,
we don't hunt until we, tick down the bomb. It doesn't matter where he is. It doesn't matter if we kill the AWP. If we don't get the round, you know,
yeah.
you cannot be that kind of last line of defense in front B side, push out like that. You know where he is. You can hold the angle. I'll be fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
But continuously pushing, you have one top mid. All you need to do is either gather all three, attack at the same time, or you wait, you let the bomb timer tick down. If it's like 15 seconds left, let's say, when Bit makes that play, Brokey can never win it. But
Yeah,
now it's
yeah.
like 25 seconds left of the bomb, and he's already dead. It gives him the actual kind of timeline for this clutch to happen, but there's no
Mhm.
chance in hell he can win that clutch if 10 more seconds has ticked of the bomb. There's no chance. And that's a huge
By the way,
mistake.
we've so moved to not to phase from Navi. We've gone the opposite way. But I'm glad you covered the points of like, because when I just see comments where people are like, "Oh, wonderful! Like he made the wrong move." I'm like, no, it's 100% not his fault. Like he was stuck. He was in the back. If he thinks Brokey's going to be, he's going to go and try and push through it. Brokey just played it really well and smart, and then bit messed up. Makazi got unlucky with a molly. But I'll say this: when we did the interview, the loser interview with Blade, he's like, "Okay, we've got more time. We're still getting there." But I think everyone's expectations changed after how well they did at Cologne with Makazi's first event,
Yeah.
and we thought we were going to see a better face. Now it's been disappointment after disappointment, and it is disappointing, even if Blade doesn't think so. But it's like it feels like they should have made two roster moves during the previous player break. They didn't, and now they're going to have to suffer through this moment to get into the next one.
Yeah.
They're lucky they're playing like Star Series, for example, because they'll get some ranking points there. Obviously, it's another LAN as well. They are the highest rated team playing there. On paper, we'll come to it another time when we do the episode closer to that. They should be winning it, but I mean, it's it is a situation where
It's a
it's
volatile
crazy they didn't
situation
make it.
for Navi. I mean, even that event, you can't really put them as like secure favorites either, because I think they might bomb out,
Well,
because they're not
after
looking like they're not looking safe and collected, and what's the
well, we
word I'm
saw
looking
this.
for?
We saw this. This is the problem. What you're saying. So I'm saying, yeah, they're favorites of Star Series, but they also just lost to M80. And I don't care if people say it's online or not. They lost to M80 in a best of three, failing again on Inferno as a deciding map. Um,
They need to get Inferno out of their pool, man.
or just Makazi needs to learn. Like, we can't keep praising Alexi and Blade if no one is helping Makazi not keep taking nade damage. Like, I always need to start counting the rounds where he's half health to no health at B.
Like I feel like he goes
It's
-10
killing me.
every single Inferno. Makasa goes like 8,
You're being
18 or
nice. You're being very nice. Yeah, because I'm seeing him like half health from the first grenade as he's literally eating it on his chest, and then he's gonna go try and take a fight. Which, unless he's one bullet headshotting with the AK,
but it's
he's
not gonna
so
get
screwed.
easier either. Like people, like we've talked about it. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone knows it. Everyone saw it from the first game he stepped into Navi on Inferno. He's getting
Yep,
battered by nades, and that's the win conditions for CT. If they can eliminate the banana player when
yep.
Navi are doing an A default, all of a sudden they've won the round. They can over rotate or push in. They get so much
Full
control,
control. Full
and
control.
it's just damning when they're losing, 13-11, and their banana player is struggling hard. They need to help him figure this out, because or change his position up, because he's not good enough for tier 1 banana play right now. It's a tough position to play, I will admit,
Hmm.
to kind of read all of these, but he needs to go through what can everyone do, what have they done
Yeah,
against me, and how can I avoid it? Because it's people are gonna just keep throwing him
I'm a
AGs
little
and
worried for him.
destroying him.
I'm a little worried for them. We'll have to see. Obviously, they're going to keep this roster until the major, no matter what. Is what I'm looking like, right? M80
Yeah,
didn't manage to retire another player or bench another player from this, but we'll keep an eye on Navi in the future. Um, Next we'll go on to your old team, your Fnatic team. It's not even your Fnatic team anymore, but Crims is still there. So we
yeah,
I'll say this run was mega impressive. Beating Ecstatic, fine. You've beaten them before, you play at the same level as them. Beating Gamer Legion and the way they did it was legit as hell. Jambo, I was worried that he would be never coming back to the same level we saw him on Passion. Maybe because of language, maybe just because you don't have the confidence to do the things. Bro, I watched him walk up banana T side on Ancient as an entry, and I'm thinking, shouldn't Cypher or Blame F be the first one in? No, he's going up and hitting, like he's just finding the player, hitting a crazy shot, and I'm thinking, this guy, like he was doing this all over the map. He was
Yeah.
sometimes pushing red room, entry orping. He's then going on to, and I'm like, there's not many orpers doing this in CS2 these days. Not many,
No,
and
I
he
think
makes it look good.
I like the way Fnatic approached the game because I actually think they approach it in like almost a CS:GO esque way, where they're playing
Hmm.
very slow. They're playing almost 1-3-1. They're changing up where the group is to pressure different things, and they're taking their time. And they have this kind of like double-edged kind of lurks because even
Hmm.
though people might see Cypher as a entry fragger, I see him as like a almost an explosive lurker in a way, while I see Blame F as that defensive. He'll catch his opportunity lurker, but he'll be much more patient. And
Yes.
having that slow style where you can kind of let Cypher get his feeling in the round and know when to strike and blame F as well, while they as a group, pressure another side or, you know, they play a very tactical way of Counter Strike. And it's something that's kind of been removed from CS2 a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, we don't have the old VP style anymore, and we don't have that old, classic Navi and in the same sense. And I think Fnatic play this style and they play it very, very well. And I think that's why they're having
Yeah.
success because not everyone is doing it this way anymore. A lot of people are playing a lot more grouped up, a lot more execute, a lot more 4-1 because it is so damn hard to keep your lurkers on each side of the map alive. But Blame F and
Hmm.
Cypher, they're really good at this.
Yeah.
So I think I'm super impressed by them. I
Bro,
had a little bit of
if
faith before the event as well. Obviously, with I thought they would take a map against Navi, but
yeah, but dude, do you know what's crazy? I'll glaze Fnatic a little bit more. They're playing Draculan that they go on to win. They get a
yep,
huge amount of VRS points. They're playing from a boot camp in Romania while also competing at that event at the same time, and they almost qualified to London. I'll say this: if they won that train against M80, yeah,
yep,
I felt like the third map would be them beating M80. Like they obviously had a tough train. M80 played really well. We're not taking anything away from them. But if it had gone to the third map, I felt like Fnatic would have been there. They would have got that done.
yeah,
And maybe just running out of steam a bit. Maybe it was just a few missed. Like there's such small details, right? It's that's just what can happen in Counter Strike. But this is such a positive sign for Fnatic that have been off everyone's radar, and also for Fear. My biggest concern, I've known Fear since the Navi Junior days. Yeah. Back on the
yep,
Academy League when I was talking to him, and him leading a Ukrainian team, great, no problem at all. His English is good, but I didn't know if he would get the same belief and trust from the players on his team to go and lead a team where you've got Crims and you've got Blame F. Yeah. Blame F also was a leader at one point. Crims is going to have his way of playing at the same time. But it seems like at moments, not all moments, but at moments, this team can connect and do things the right way and communicate through all of this.
yeah,
And remember, they lost Matties. They lost Matties to G2 and they had to bring Cypher in. That changed so much. It's a huge change. And yet they still are climbing their way up. Like, give it more time with Cypher and they're on to a winner. This is a team that will
yep.
be like at the majors, maybe big events as well.
I think so as well, and I think I'll even point out, they had a week or 2 weeks or something with Cypher, and they almost qualified for that Star Ladder event, which I was working. They were literally one round away, which they lost to Iberian
You said they like
Soul.
you said they threw it, right? And that was
They
it.
f-
That
they
was
threw it like they lost an
yeah.
anti-eco round, which would have won them the game. So or like a four half
Mm,
force anti-eco
yeah.
kind of. Yeah, and it was literally an USP stuck on the behind barrels on overpass, which they lost against.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
they're
like
looking
it.
good. I'm super impressed by them as well. I think they're looking on the up and up, and it's fun having the old names back. Fnatic,
Yeah.
NIPs, kind of competing in
Yeah,
the
NIP not quite back, but almost.
no, but they had their stints, and I'm sure they'll find their way back because they do have a really
Yeah.
strong and competitive team now. So I think they're on the up and up as well if we give it some time. But yeah, Fnatic super impressed, but M80, wow.
Now, we have to touch on this one as the last team that didn't make it through. Spirit. And I'm not going to be too negative on them because of what changes that are coming that we know are coming, right?
Yeah,
You beat FlyQuest. You lose to Furia. I'm not even surprised they lost to Furia, by the way. Like people acted like this was the biggest shock. Now, in terms of we don't see them playing much against each other, yes, Spirit have Donk, but people maybe forget how good K Serato actually is. And then Molodoi, what map did he go absolutely insane on? Yeah, it was 1.90 rating
was Mirage.
from Molodoi on Mirage. Molodoi, Keenan keeps saying it. I've said it multiple times now. Rookie of the year. He is a beast. He's now on another arena event as well. His mentality when I spoke to him the first time in Astana, we obviously go back and watch the Astana episode so I don't waste too much time on this, but he was like, I can do better. And he made semis of his first event, you know?
Yeah,
First tier one event, first big event, and he just wants to do better. He wants to play better. His English is getting better. We did a good interview as well. Your kinder's in form. Fallen can't like,
Fallen is
dude,
back.
dude, he's not just back. He's back in a different role with an incredible feel for the game. He's got this great understanding of things that like only come with the level of experience someone like him can have. And their win against Spirit was so legit because this is when Donk was still playing good even in the game.
The
Like
Donk was
Donk wasn't
like
Donk was still owning.
Donk. I think when he lost this game, I think this kind of followed through. His frustration was like,
Just broke
gathering
him.
like a black hole or something, and I don't know what to say. Like this game, he is absolutely destroying everyone in this game, and they're still
Yep.
losing. Like he can't
Yep.
get them over the line, and I don't know how many rounds he just walked up con, got the A site, they still lose the round. He got like a 3K, they lose the round. They got 2K, they lose the round, and he's just destroying everyone. And I could just see like, am I just dropping 30 kills and I'm still
And I'm
losing?
done. And
Because
then
yeah,
from here, they play
ridiculous.
G2, right? They play G2 for that last spot in London. So they fight their way through the lower bracket. Nothing wrong with that at all, you know? Like going through the lower bracket after that loss to Furia, good teams can bounce back. One loss doesn't define you. But then you beat G2 on Mirage again. You play Dust 2, you lose it in overtime. It's not the end of the world. But I felt like when they lost it on Dust 2, and then what happened on Ancient, because I think last time it was like a 10. So last time G2 won Ancient, 13-8. But they had like a 10-2 first half on the CT side. Well, they got 11-1 first half on the T side. Now, Malbs is a kind of specialist in his own right on Ancient, and Donk doesn't, he's not the same way, right? Donk can have
Yeah,
moments on Ancient, but I mean, like, Maui was on the desk with me and he pointed out a stat that, like, Malbs, oh, sorry, it was Vu actually, give Vu some credit, big Vu. Um, Malbs head to head against Donk on this map, like Malbs wins. Yeah. And it showed. But I'll say this that Donk was checked out.
he
They
was
used his camera so
100%.
many times. Bro, there's one time he's all the way back here.
Like
There's another point where he's
he's
just like
legit like this.
tabbing. And then he was like, you could see there was like lights flashing. I don't know if he's just flicking through players, but he was like either tabbing or flicking through players or his team, just tapping, just tapping. Like, dude, he was. And people can say he needs better mental, but he's won big tournaments. He's had comebacks in games, but I mean, it must have been something to him where, like, he had disbelief that this was even happening, and then for me, I'm just gonna say this: if Magix was still there, they win that game. Now I
But
can't prove
imagine,
it, but the
oh,
Magic's vibe is a factor.
I think so too. I think Magic is a underrated player for what he does, and I'm not sure I'm 100% convinced by the Sway pickup yet. I think he has showed stints and maps, but he's
Mhm.
consistently, I feel like, in the same kind of boat Magic's was. It's not really an
Okay,
improvement at all.
so let me hit you with this. Obviously, they're not going to London anyway, but maybe Tanir wasn't coming to play at London because he couldn't get a British visa. Yeah, they can be quite hard to get, and he's
Yeah,
Belarusian. Maybe I don't. I have no idea if that could be the reason. But now maybe they're looking at this and they're thinking, okay, Zontix, maybe you stay. Maybe we regret getting Sway, and we then just add Tanir. Maybe that's the way they want to do things because they're dragging this out. But either way, something's not pretty. Something's not comfortable. The calling is not great. Chopper, like I even DM'd him because I wanted to do an interview with him. He wasn't gonna, he didn't want to do interviews. Zontix was quite open in his interview when I did it with him. I didn't speak for. I did a lot of the interviews for Spirit. I wasn't on too many of their games. Um, I know Donk was just same as always as he was in his interviews. What he gave, but like G2 was, you listen to their voice comms, you hear them, you see them on cameras, all good vibes, even in bad games. Saw, by the way, he is the most finished person ever.
yeah.
They cut
That
to the
call on
voice
Dust
coach
too.
comms.
Guys,
Oh, bro.
guys, is your W stuck or something? Frozen?
And
I'll
it's
I'll
the
give him
way
though.
he
It's a
says it.
good it's a good way to say it, because I mean he's blaming the whole group. Like it's one of
Yeah.
those things, like if you're not fast enough, you're just gonna let the rotations. Like one of the worst things that can happen when you play Counter Strike is you execute somewhere and there's one guy on site. Like let's say you're walking in B site on Dust 2. You smoked doors, you smoked windows, and there's one guy on site, and everyone just stops and aims. No one
Yeah.
takes the space. No one is pressuring this person to take another angle or
The
get
map's
shot from
still as
multiple
large.
angles. Everyone just stops and aims and waits for the repeat of the guy on site. And that's the
Yeah.
worst freaking thing you can see as a coach, because you're getting zero positions. And when you're giving the time for the rotations, and if they pop out window, they pop out door, you're all in the same space. They don't have to, flick left to right. They just have to know, okay, let's aim tunnel, let's spray tunnels, let's nade tunnels.
Yeah.
And you're just exposing the entire team. Even if you would get that kill, you're not in great positions for when the rotations come in. I think it was a
And
good way for him to kind of, do we
it's the
want to
way he
win
does it.
rounds?
But it's the way he does it so calm. He
Yeah.
doesn't sound stressed. He doesn't sound angry. Yeah. He might not even be smiling while he's saying it. He's just talking, normal way he talks, very monotone, just
Yeah.
going through it all. Like, dude, you'll never feel stressed by him as your coach. And like he can just give you the information. He's just gonna lay it out. He's gonna, and this is
Yeah.
good. Do you know what, for me? I think this is probably great for Hunter. This is definitely great for Hunter. And it meant so much for Hunter to be able to go to his first playoffs as an IGL. Heavy God, by the way, he deserves a lot of credit performing very well. Matisse is good. Some bias is I'm kind of,
He was
I
good
know Saw knows
against
how to use him.
Spirit though. Like especially on Ancient. And I think Dust too, he kind of came back into it. Uh But I think he's growing a little bit more for me, because before it felt like he had terrible performances, and now they're
Yeah.
just okay-ish. But that's good enough, especially when you have some of your players just performing so well. And I'll say even Mattis, he's been great. I think he's
Yeah.
been absolutely insane for G2. I think he's
I think he just needs to get a bit
really,
more comfortable at this level. Because obviously
yeah,
he's never had to do this before. So he just, because I can see the ability and skill and I can believe in what he can do. Just give him a few more months to get comfortable and it's over. He's even using a new
yeah.
mouse pad now. It's all over for everyone. But the last thing on Spirit I'll just say is this is sad the way it went down. I now just need to know what they're going to be doing. Like, I just want to understand exactly what's happening
But it would be weird
because
if
it's
they
so
kick
up in the.
Sway, but I feel like
I'm not
they
saying
need.
Kingsway. I'm just saying like so just imagine this Spirit without Magix and Zontix. That means just Chopper, Shiro, and Donk remain from the like the team that won the major and everything else.
Yeah,
How much that vibe is gonna change. Because I've said this before. Like there's times I've come to the Spirit practice room and like Chopper and Shiro be off doing whatever they're doing. But I would always see like Zontix, Donk, and Magix in the practice room. I would see them guys there. Yeah, always see them two together, them three together.
yeah.
That was the people. Dong's obviously always grinding, just playing a lot, but don't underestimate like what it happens when a player's not there, even if Zway can be mechanically gifted or can be good. Um, and obviously now Tanir's just there waiting to see what happens, waiting in the wings. But I need to know. I think what the next event is probably. What's the next event
For
for Spirit?
Spirit,
Let's have a look. EPL or Fissure? No, they're not doing Fissure.
EPL
EPL.
confirmed
And
at
if they
least.
don't play him, if they don't play him at EPL, then like I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see. It's all a waiting game. I don't have any extra information on this. I don't know. There's nothing else I can add to this.
But I
Um,
feel like it's also a little bit of a dead team vibe. Like it's just like fuck it, we're not gonna have this lineup.
that's normally where teams start to play better, though.
Yeah, but
Like
that's
they
that's
did
that's
do
that's
well.
for
They won
one
Cologne.
tournament, and they already had that tournament, which they
Now they're
won,
eking it out,
and now it's just okay. Why are we
dragging
still
on,
doing
and
this?
again and again.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I just think whatever happens, however they decide to do things, I want Spirit to be so very Spirit, just like the players. I want the organization to just say the truth. We couldn't get to Nero Visa. We actually wanted him here, but it wasn't possible. He needs to go to here. Whatever the reason is, just give us the truth. Give us the raw, honest truth of why it's gone down like this. Why things have not
don't they have
happened. Like
the
we,
vlogs and stuff they release
yeah, that's the
in
hope. So
Russia?
hopefully we get that. But obviously, online vlogs not going to really exist, right? For the online part of this, so we'll see
True,
something like a
true.
bounty, for example. Maybe I wasn't there, so I don't know if the video guy was there. But I remember EWC was supposed to be the last one for Zontix, and now
Yeah,
it's not. So here we are again. We're just waiting. Um, we don't really need to touch on the 6 teams that made it to the land finals. It's a good set of teams. It's nice to see FaZe back. Same for G2. M80 is the kind of outlier. Like, will they do anything? But we can just now flip this into our preview for the next event, right?
we can. Yeah,
So I'll say this: Fury being in semis for me, like that was legit as hell how they did it. Vitality being in semis, they easily could have been in quarters because of that game against FaZe. G2, they're just happy to finally get to a playoffs, and it's Hunter IGLing. M80 definitely just happy to be there, even though they're going to face Mouse. And Mouse are still shaky. Yeah.
yep.
So is this where we want to now reveal
I
our?
think we can reveal.
Do we do it
Uh,
game by game?
let's
I
do
need
it
to I need
game
to open my
by
thing to
game.
make sure okay.
So
So
mouse versus M80. I have written down mouse win versus M80.
same. Well, I just wrote Mal's little line that says they beat M80.
Yeah.
G2 phase. This one I'm gonna get spicy, I think. I'm picking
I picked
G2.
face.
Okay, let's go for this then. So reason I picked G2, and it does kind of work that I need to double check this, but I don't think Matthews has ever played in arena. That was just I didn't do any research on this. Maybe you can quickly check it for me, but I didn't think Matthews had ever been in an arena. But I know Jacob, and Jacob looks really good, by the way, on phase. Nothing against him. And Brokey obviously is hella back, and we're very positive about him. I'll just say the reason I picked G2 is that Jacob did an interview with the desk, and he was nervous. In an arena, I feel like that's going to get him. And I feel like that will get him more than whatever Matthews will experience. And that will give them a slight edge
Okay.
because the rest of that G2 team is more than capable. And it's phase riding high, and we can always say this thing: phase when they get to the arena, that's when they're at their best. Also, they're kind of in a little honeymoon period, whatever else, yeah. but I've just got a feeling that this G2 will get a semi-finals run in here somehow. I can just see it.
For me, why I picked Face, I think obviously Broke is a big part of that, but I also think the rest of the team, they look more composed. They look like they believe the ideas that are brought into the server a lot more. They're lot more direct in their approach.
Mhm.
I think their individual skill is starting to come back. And I think removing Elish and this kind of talk about too many cooks in the kitchen,
Yep.
from obviously Rain has mentioned that in interviews that there are too many ideas. I think this is kind of refocused phase in a way where Jacob has been great. I think Rain been great. Like all the players have actually stepped up individually and are starting to get
Mhm.
comfortable in the roles. I actually have a little bit
Except
of
for
a
Carolyn.
well, yes, he is playing a little bit of a new role on some maps, and we'll probably go into that very shortly, as I have prepared a little bit of a devil walkthrough for
We'll
just
we'll
face.
we'll we'll do it after we go through all our predictions. We'll do it
Yeah,
that way because things will get interesting now. So I'm with you on the phase thing. This is one where it just is such an exciting matchup. I'm glad it's the last game of the day as
it's
well. I hope it
definitely
stays that
not
way.
like, oh, it's 100% face or 100%. This was a
Yep.
tricky one for me to predict. I think
Yep.
it can go either way.
I changed my prediction before I sent it like 3 times.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, phase." I was like, "Oh, Brokey." Then I was like, "But what if Jacob really just shits the bed
face is gonna
completely?
win
Like,
it by
what
a
happens
ninja
here?"
diffuse by Brokey.
Or some mad like 1v5 clutch. That would be
Yeah,
very brokey. That would be so brokey. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting though, because now we have to
yeah.
do our predictions based on what we already predicted. So that means we would see Vitality play Mouse.
I
You want to
had
go first?
Vitality win versus Mouse.
Same. Okay, we're agreed. Then I've got Furia G2.
I have Furia versus Face, and I have
And I
Furia
have,
win versus Face.
yes, I have Furia win versus G2. So we both agreed now.
Yeah.
We've come back to a grand final of Vitality versus Furia.
I think this one is really tough to predict, but I did pick
No.
Vitality.
Okay.
Uh,
Bro,
but I
so
think it's much closer than we, set it up. But I have to
really?
stick with the Vitality because we've previously said that Vitality is
Yeah.
going to win the whole event.
But you could
And I'm
change if
gonna,
you wanted to. You're
yeah,
not
but
being held
I
to that
think
at
Furia is going to
gunpoint.
give them a real game. I don't think it's
I
going to
was
be. Is it best of five?
yes, is so that was my reasoning. My reasoning for not picking Fury in this. If it was a best of three, I could maybe give it to Fury in some way. But I think in a best of five, at best they could get a map in
I
current
actually
Fury
think they
way.
might pick up two.
Okay. Okay.
But I think the experience and all that winning mentality and kind of they probably have a little bit
Oh,
extra hunger as well if they eventually reach the final. Like, okay, it's
well,
time to be back now, boys.
and also Mezzi's at home. It's his country, and his wife and baby will be there as well. I saw him in the lobby
True.
when I came in and checked into the hotel. I checked in him. I
Saivu
said, "You got
did
family
get
coming?"
Saivu and Apex did get that Paris win,
Yeah.
so it's
See.
time for Messi to get the UK one, right?
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, there is our preview of the Blast Open London playoffs. It's going to be very exciting. We're almost completely aligned. We have a few little differences in there of how it might go down. But we will at the end of this event go through them final 6 teams in some more detail, review everything, go into a bit of a longer one. But Devil Walk did prepare a new Devil walkthrough for us. He's kept this one a bit shorter, but it's all focused on Jacob. So talk to me, DW. Give
Well,
me the
not
Jacob
all of it.
lowdown.
So I obviously have some old maps with have to kind of get used to the hotkeys again. Okay, moving was
Oh, we've
there.
even got simple on this one, so
Drawing.
this is from Austin.
Yes. So there are some old ones, but it still provides a point, I think. So if we
Yep.
just check the old way of actually lower the playback speed. Um, we see here face Carrigan here. He is actually the long anchor in the old phase.
Mhm.
We obviously had simple kind of supporting with nades, but Elish is that kind of short player who will play on the short side. Now, why I think this is important, I think it's important because this player is the most important player on the CT side. It's the one that dictates the entire tempo, where you're defending. And I think one big thing when you look at Dust 2 as a map in general, you need three defenders to defend B site, at least to be
Mhm.
ready here with flashes, um, and four to defend A properly against five terrorists. That's how I
Yep.
view the maps. So it's very important the location of this player, where he's be, where, if he's ready, and obviously Carrigan being isolated into this kind of long anchor role isn't very relevant on the map. You know, he can make a few moves. You know, he can essentially do these three things. He can let go of long and help a short execute. He can stay
Mhm.
long, or he can push long. All requires quite a lot of information to defend, because if you do this, you're running the risk of getting flanked, etc. It's a huge task in kind of decision making. Here you obviously see that Elish doesn't get to the point where he needs to be to defend and flash for his mates. When the first flash
Yep.
pops, I think here, all of them are
Yep.
already dead. Because he, I would say, he took a kind of a egocentric way of approaching this, where he would nade the mid smoke to try to find a kill when he could have actually flashed for Rain being the solo defender. Either way, that's not really the point. The biggest point I want to make is Kerrigan being isolated into this long area.
Yep.
Now, if we look at the current phase,
Mhm.
so we'll look at it this way. Jacob is now the long anchor, uh, and Kerrigan has taken over that Elise role. So he's
Oh,
in a much, much central position,
more
uh,
active.
more active. I think this is really, what I want to highlight. Where I felt when I watched Face now, they looked
Mhm.
more or less chaotic. Do you get my sense when you watch them now? They have that kind of explosive and chaotic episodes, but when I watched them with the leech, it felt like it was almost every single round. While I did feel they have a lot more control now. And I think that the big reason for that is having Kerrigan, at least on Dust 2, in a more central position where he can kind of
Yep.
feel out the game. He can be in that position, and he's not going to be the egotistical kind of approach where he drops out to clear mid fully. He will be flashing for those guys every single time if something happens. Um,
Whatever the team needs.
and I think I just wanted to point that out a little bit, that he has so many more options to kind of go out around the map. Because before, I mean, what can you do? You can be in this little box here, where you can
Yep.
listen to. I'm making headset here to short guys.
Uh,
But that's essentially what you can do, and otherwise it's just waiting and kind of listening through what the information is. You don't really have the tools and positioning to dictate where your players should be or what
yep.
you should be holding. I think it's also really good
Question
that,
though,
yeah.
where did Jacob used to play on Dust 2 on his old team?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't check that. I think they, they played
Sorry,
us
I'm just
too.
throwing you a curveball. This is the
Well,
first time I've
either
seen
way,
this.
I can check that up as we run. We'll probably give that answer in the at the end, but I don't
Okay.
know currently. I think that he was probably more of a playmaker, if I'm
Mhm.
totally honest.
But that's a
Because
very strong player individually to be
I
locking
think
down
he
long, which
actually
can be
had
such
this
a targeted
Kerrigan role.
place. Okay.
Uh, but there's obviously things where you're not going to have the same fragging output from a very, very important role, but I think it's going to dictate where you position everyone a lot better.
Yep.
Because we've seen, Alexi B have a lot of success kind of playing that role sometimes, where He used to get famous for throwing the nades on short guys, etc., and doing a
Mhm.
lot of damage. So it's a position you don't necessarily have to play, guns blazing. You can play it very, very
You
smart
can be
and
annoying.
annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smart and annoying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think that's one key thing. Now, this is around. Just gonna reverse back. So here we see this is also he's in a more central position here. Obviously, in short, he's helping Frozen. They're gonna have some contact here in lower. Uh, he's gonna flash just to provide some cover, and he's just here to you know help with that duel, and then he can tell people to escape, and he can kind of slowly
Mhm.
back off. Um, and I think previously, I'm not really sure they would have actually gone into a 3B setup, but I think Kerrigan is kind of secure with that. They're playing Navi. If they're going to take short, they're very structural. They're probably going to mollo, especially with someone being there. That he makes the call to play a kind of a joker position here and go 3B. Now, it doesn't matter to me that they actually lost this B side and lost this round, but I think it's relevant that they're making the call where Carrigan says,
The
"No,
stack.
stay 3B. I'm gonna play
Yeah.
Joker on A instead." Um, and I think
And you got
in
a
the
safe pair of hands at
past,
long in Jacob.
yeah, in the past that might not have been the case. Um,
Okay.
Now that's one thing. Now we're gonna move on a little bit on Mirage, and one thing that I thought was really interesting on their CT side and the change of perspective here is we're going to look at Elish versus Jacob and their approach in the first 3 or 4 gun rounds of a CT half. Now, here we have Elish on the first gun round here. They're choosing to go aggressive here, right? Rain and Elish, they're pushing underground, they're trying to get kills, uh, and they're playing it super, super aggro. Now we can move on to the next gun round, same map, and we see here Elish moves up, is aggressive again. Gets killed, punished, doesn't really matter the rest. I want to see the next gun round. He is trying to be aggressive. He gets kind of tagged down. And then what does he decide to do? He decides to go aggressive again. Obviously, Brokey has that line and go into an aggressive setup in mid.
Yep.
Now, if we're going to show a little bit of difference, so this is kind of the first gun rounds. I mean, I can show this. No, this is an eco. Either way, this is the first gun round, actually, kind of, against a force. We see Jacob, he's taking a much more kind of conservative positioning. He's kind of jiggling. He's not in an aggressive position, exposed or anything.
Mhm.
Um, and it gives them a lot more stability. I think it just eliminates some of that unnecessary chaos for FaZe, where they can kind of use their experience a little bit more, delay a little bit more, and not play that all-out full chaos game, which I thought it looked like they were with Elish. Um, and if we look, you see him, he's a very, very conservative position. We can look at the next kind of weapon round. It's obviously against Navi. We see Jacob again,
Yep.
very, very conservative, very, very, chill. And here we see this is a beautiful play, by the way. If you see here, Frozen throws a flashbang into mid. Carrigan peeks from window. Jacob breaks the smoke, and they're both blind. They get the double kill, but it's a very organized, aggressive play. It's not,
Yeah. Played off
him
each other
just
really
walking
well.
up. And we can see again, can kind of mount into here. Still a very, very conservative thing. Even though they are aggressive, it's based on nade, it's based on flash, and then they move back and they play
Yep.
safe. They, nade, they're annoying. They get a kill from a nade, playing super, super kind of defensive in this line and being annoying with multiple parts of the map, everything from Brokey flashing to Frozen flashing, them nading and controlling. It's not as, you know, direct, I'm gonna take a duel and win it. It's much more finesse in this play. And we can
Yep.
even look at even the next one. So this is 4 gun rounds in a row. Now he does go a little bit aggressive, but he walks off. He plays this conservative role where we saw Elish would have pushed underground, almost playing a little bit puggy in a sense, where he would be aggressive here. He would take duels, who walk out to the smoke, take duels, trying to find impact all the time. While Jacob is kind of leaving that space, giving room for other players to shine on the map as well. Um,
Hmm.
so that was kind of what I wanted to go through. I had a couple of rounds here, but it's essentially, I think that it's not that relevant, but I do see that Jacob is a little bit more prone to go out in an execute, be that first member to kind of trade down and be aggressive. Something that maybe Elish was a little bit not as good at, I would say, as Jacob. I think he has more ability in that sense. Kind of like when we talked about Makase in Navi, that they get a little bit more
Yeah.
speed into things. So yeah, that's where I wanted to take the conversation with Face. Essentially, I wanted to kind of highlight that on the city sides, they do seem a little bit more controlled. It's not as aggressive and all out. It's not as exposed. They're not going to get punished, and it's not going to be as many chaotic rounds
Hmm.
comparably to when they play with the leash, who we can safely assume had a lot of impact in the communication and what was going on in the server. Uh,
Yeah.
with his initiative taking. And I think having someone like Jacob kind of just stepping in line and following the directions and directives that are given is giving us a better face.
And do you think that this is now just a lot of them molding Jacob as well and getting him to play as they want?
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's not only that. I think I think that they're much more prone into doing something together rather
Hmm.
than being this instinctful gut feeling player that would just take a decision in the middle of the round, which maybe would throw some of the players off. Uh, when you're in a position where you're not really ready for what your mate wanted to do, he takes an initiative, and you feel like you have to move forward to trade, but you're too late because you're not really into the play as fast as he is. Which obviously,
Yeah.
you get a little bit off sync because of that. I think that's something that Face has experienced, and that's something that they don't have to deal with to the same degree now with Jacob.
Awesome, man. Another
Yeah.
Devil walkthrough. A little bit more understanding of phase and how they got it. It's not just the Brokey show. There's a lot more going on behind the
But I
scenes,
mean,
moving
that's
around.
it's a big influence to Brokey. Like, obviously, if you give Brokey a lot of this time, he's
Yeah.
going to deliver in a different way. But if he's constantly in these 3v4, 3v5, or 4v5 situations where they have to claw things back, you're not gonna get that same Brokey in a sense. And I think this slower pace of rounds, you know, gives more room for other players to shine. And I think we've seen that in this tournament.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on it. It's definitely great to just have. Obviously, FaZe last made Austin playoffs for the major, which is great. Was with Simple. At least
Yep.
obviously still there, but it's been getting bad again. And this is a nice turnaround. And if they can just keep building on this and figuring things out, obviously only time will tell. It's when FaZe are at the top and when FaZe are in playoffs, it's a good thing. People love them. And even with Carrigan having individually not great performances, I think say there's only one thing I worried about with FaZe. It was that like Jacob would come in
Yep.
and he would be not ready. But just to get him this far, even if he's not ready for stage, this is already a good look from what you've shown me. So I got to learn from looking at this bit. This
Yeah,
is
and
nice.
he plays really good roles, and he has a lot of impact. And I think, yeah, he suits them because they have so much experience. They have so many players who can make an impact if you just let them. They don't need someone to fill that void, because we've these are big players. They're big game players, and
Yeah.
they always have been. So I think Phase they're on the right path, and I'm looking forward as well to kind of seeing where Jacob can kind of take it once the nerves kind of
Mhm.
settle in, because I assume it's quite a big kind of jump from playing tier 3 to then playing with the legends of this game, like absolute legends of this game. So obviously he's going to have a little bit of an adjustment period.
Yeah. Oh, yes. All right. Well, from that, we will look at news that's going on in the scene, some of the things we've picked out here. Um, I think the first one we can start with is Astralis because it's huge.
Yep.
So the only thing is, I don't want to talk any ill about Stown, but like again, we've got personal reasons, right? That he's tweeted out as well. Some people said he made another tweet once the rumors came out that Magis, because there was rumors a few days before that Magis would be joining Astralis. Yeah,
Yep.
Magis coming from Falcons was on their bench. They let him go. It seems I don't know if any deal came, but Astralis has no money, as we saw, as like an organization. They've been struggling, so I don't think they had the money to buy him out if it was a big buyout or anything. Um, yeah, like they were hearing it said on HLTV. Astralis was reported to be exploring a sale, you know? Um,
Right.
but then later publicly released financial statements confirmed the storied brand was in some degree of trouble. So obviously they've been able to get him. But like, I don't think Stown was bad, but he wasn't playing up to his usual level. He hasn't looked the same player in CS2 as he was in CSGO. If he has some personal issues, I feel for him, right? And it's really good if he sat there and said, I don't feel good. I'm dealing with this right now. I need to take a break. I'm always going to support that because health is so important. But just because it's Astralis and how they've done things before, that it makes me think um like there might not be full truth to this.
Oh.
I just that's what I'm just worried about because it's Astralis. And if maybe they wanted to make a move, this is how they just like brush things under the rug.
But
Because
don't you
it says that
think,
Magis is going to play for the rest of the season for them.
didn't Hooksy take a lot of Staven's spots when he joined? Do you think that could be some reason? Because I think Hooksy kind of plays that, if even the thing that we kind of went through, that Hooksy plays short on Dust 2, something that Staven used to do, he kind of wants to be very central on the map to make sure that he's
Mhm.
calling correctly.
How we can see everything.
And that's kind of where Staven used to operate, and it hasn't really worked out with him kind of shifting roles in that sense.
Yeah.
That could also be kind
Yeah,
of a
yeah, yeah.
role thing, because obviously Magis, he can be a great anchor. They obviously know he's a great communicator. Um, and yeah, Staven just maybe not ready to kind of get into a more structured role.
And it might be even hard on Stown's mental in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously not performing the same way you were in CS2 in general, then going through this change and Hooksy coming in as well. New leadership style, new way of it all being.
But when
So
did we see Staven last time actually be good? Like, if we're fair,
it's
was
hard
that
to remember.
what was that heroic?
Or I'll say there's a few pop-off games I can remember in the Astralis jersey. But obviously, it was also with tons of other caveats of players changing, leadership changing.
Yeah.
Like they've been through such a ringer of terrible. Like he had, for example, Bucharest. Okay, they went out ninth to 11th, 1.18 rating. Cologne stage one, 5th to 8th. So they made it through to the next stage, 1.14 rating.
But that's not
Online blast
Staven
bounties.
ratings, you when I think of Staven being, really good, he was like a 115, 120 kind of rifler
Yeah,
in terms of rating.
more consistent.
I mean, he was the star player. He was the best player. People were hyping up as one of the best players in Denmark.
Yeah. And that's what it's a long way from that now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to seem like an asshole saying that this might not be true, right? It's not because of what Stown said. It's more on the Astralis side.
Yeah,
Now I never saw this tweet. Some people said there was a tweet made from Stown and then it got deleted. Yeah, I never saw this. I didn't see any posts anywhere. Just this is what was written by people on the internet, so you can't trust that fully. But Magic's coming in might work out better for what you just said on the whole way they want to fit Magic into these roles, right?
yeah.
But like it is a bit of recycling the old players, bit of legacy Astralis getting back to there. Now, Magic's probably very motivated and has a point to prove, but like, I think this is just, if anything, it's just a linear move. I don't see this as like something that's going to massively change them to suddenly do better than they were before.
I don't think most people are looking at this and going like, okay, yeah, Astrals are back now. Uh, I don't
Title
think that
contenders.
I don't think that would be fair, but maybe it gives them a little bit more stability for a period of time. I mean, one thing we
Yeah.
have to remember, uh, Magisk is only 27.
Yeah, I always think he's older because obviously he was so young when he first joined Australia. This
Yes.
is, by the way, we must say this so many times on the podcast. There are so many players now where I still put Magic in this 23, 24-year-old category, like he just hasn't aged.
Well, like I think most people would look at Magisk and he must be over 30 now. Like he has a year left, but he has multiple years left. So I think it's one
Hmm.
of those things where, obviously he's had a little bit of a break. He could reinvent himself, grind up the skill a little bit more, and kind of finding a new motivation for the game again. And I think for a lot of people that we've watched, especially in this kind of age, they have found that.
Yeah, but okay, you just said like people you think he's like 30. You know why I never think that? Because even at Paris Major, I
But
just think of like
I think it's because
capable
I've
young Magic still.
competed against these players. I've seen them for so many
Yeah.
years. I just assume they're the same age as me.
No, no one, no. Well, some are, but not as old as you, not as old as us. I'm interested to see how this unfolds, what happens, if Stown comes back, or how it's going to work out.
Yeah,
I just hope. Do you know? I just want this from all um, teams. We know some moves happen because things don't work out. Now you don't need to shit on the person and be like, "Oh, he's such a bad teammate. I don't think he should ever play with us again." But just like don't always say personal reasons. Or we mutually agreed to not be together? Like sometimes it doesn't work out. Like, look at the thing is, they still said mutual agreement on phase, but everyone knew from information that came out that certain players didn't get on, certain players couldn't agree on things, and they ended up with a situation, right?
yeah.
I much prefer the honesty. I don't need drama. Just give me the honesty. We're making this move because this was not right for us. This player didn't fit. Don't even name the players. Some players clashed. Yeah, whatever.
But
That
I
would be
mean, it would
better.
still be said in such a PR way that you would be annoyed anyways. It would be like we couldn't align on
We just
ideas,
changed.
like
Yeah, I guess we can't win in this. I guess there's no way to win, right? I live in an ideal world. I want to live in an ideal world
yeah,
where we know it all. Because there's even moves we spoke about where I know the truth and then I just can't say anything. Like I can't do it. Um, let's go then from Astralis to Ecstatic.
yeah.
Because one player who is even older than Magisk is Acor. So we already spoke about earlier in the show, Christo gets removed, rightly so. The one thing I'll say about Christo, right, is he's actually had multiple chances on
Astralis.
teams, not yeah, but not even just Astralis. Like he's had chances, yeah.
Yeah, he has
So
had
how,
so many
let's
chances.
see how long. Let's see how many chances he's had. Let's because I'm just thinking how many times I've heard of him. So Astralis talent, the Preezy lineup, um, North back in 2020.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's had opportunities. And obviously Ecstatic then rolled the dice with him again. But obviously he's not making the cut. He's not working it out. Acor, there were moments where I can say he's good, and I don't think he's a bad player at all. But I'm just surprised they went with him. He can bring some experience to the team, but like I personally thought they'd just go for a not younger player, but like more of an up and coming player to try.
Who did he stand in for? Was it Gamer Legion he stood in for?
They didn't just play for Game Legion. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, like a year ago, but he was recently he stood in some game, I thought.
Look at his matches. I can't see it on the initial
Yeah,
matches.
he played with Gamer Legion against 3D Max and IEM Dallas.
Okay. Oh yeah, because Slend couldn't get his visa.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they beat Furia, G2, and 3D Max.
But like, look at this as an example. Yeah. So he went from Tricks to Mad Lions to Mouse to Game Legion, then TSM and Ecstatic now. Yeah. It's not bad, but it's not going upwards. So if Ecstatic want to make the next step, he definitely will be better than Christo.
But
That I'm
I
agreeing.
think this is a brilliant signing for them. I think it will immediately give them stability. He's a really stable
Hmm.
opper. He might not be like 100% on the level of like some of the up and coming oppers, but one thing you'll get with Acre is consistency, and he will consistently get the kills he
And they
needs.
didn't have that
He's
before.
very like turret esque in the way that he plays op,
Hmm.
similar to like an old for the older viewers Skadoodle or whatever you want to call it. Um, but he's very
Okay.
positional in his way. He's very
Yeah.
positional in his approach, and I think
Probably
this
fits
could
very
give
Danish
them.
Counter Strike.
Yeah, it fits very very well, and I think they're gonna get some really good stability from having him like that. It's definitely gonna
Okay.
elevate the team from you know we're not just gonna bash on Christo, but obviously he had underwhelming performances to the point where it's almost like 40 rating gap to 1.0. And I think you're going to
Yeah.
get a 1.0 rating out of Acre almost every map. I think he's that stable. I don't think he's going to be
He's not going to
incredible,
cost you.
but he's not going to cost you.
He'll get you what you want.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Exciting need. I don't know. I'm just thinking like Denmark used to have such a talent pool. Maybe they don't, but I thought maybe a younger, up and coming Orpa wanted to show some stuff, you know. But then
But
obviously that's a risk of where they are.
don't you think this young team of Ecstatics, so let's just go through the ages. TMB, he might have been in the scene for 10 years, but he's 23 years old. Anlele,
That's another player I would say is older. That's actually a player
24
I would
years
say was
old.
older.
Nut Nut, he's 19, and
Best name.
Sira, I think he's
Noot,
18.
noot.
Acre has a wealth of experience that none of these players have or have had the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to kind of get into. They also parted ways with their coach, and I mean, he wasn't even listed on their HLTV page for some weird reason. Uh, but I think this is something that is going to help the entire team. Not only getting, Acre in the terms of having a stable performance, but also getting that
Yep.
experience of, okay, what's not working? How did you guys do it in the past? Get a little bit of a different view of how things are working and how to progress. Because there is a lot of talent on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they need a little bit of guidance. I think Acre could bring that stability and guidance in one package.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I'm when you look at it that when you give me the ages and the experience, I can more go onto your side of things.
Yeah.
I'm just probably maybe too much on like academy coming through, but I got to remember Ecstatic's not a tier one team, not even close
No.
to it, right?
No.
So yeah, your position would make more sense. I can't compare it to the same way of like a Navi or a Spirit looking for players and bringing people through.
No.
Yeah,
No. Because
you've convinced me.
they have like a coaching staff behind them in a way that Ecstatic, they're essentially just
Yeah,
five dudes, man.
yeah. When I'm looking like this makes more sense. What else we got? Let's look at this big situation because,
This is
dude,
chaotic.
I I need to bring up Big's Liquipedia to understand what's been going on at the same
But
time.
you know the weird thing. Okay, I'll start this one off.
Yeah.
Obviously they have Gobby returns as academy coach,
When they
but they
didn't want him on the main team because there was like disagreements with the way they wanted to play and the players not being on the same page, It was quite a public falling out. Even Gobby was like super unhappy tweeting of what went down.
but you know what the weirdest thing of this whole thing is? So they
Hmm.
they release Skrunk, who by the
After
way,
1 month.
after 1 month, and by the way, when I did the Star Ladder event, they told me that he was on a pre-agreed holiday. So in my head, I'm imagining this guy works with them for like 2 weeks, goes on holiday, comes back, and he's fired.
No, he was
This
already
this
fired
is
before
the
they said
like
he
this
was
is
a
what I get
holiday.
in my
You
head.
got lied to. You got lied to. I don't know.
Probably,
I have no proof,
but to
but if it
believe,
sounds like you were lied to.
if I would believe them, if I
Hmm.
choose to believe their words, then he went on a holiday and got fired when he came back.
Both is terrible because also was he? Obviously, I don't know. I really don't know Scrunk that well, other than when he was playing. But
Yeah.
was he that bad that you make the decision that quickly?
It's I don't know, man.
It's crazy, dude.
The-
It's
Then
crazy.
if that is the case, you have to question why did they go with him in the first place? What was it that convinced them in the
Yeah,
first place to have him?
and also they then bring Zen back, right?
He was
So
always there apparently.
yeah, but he got kind of moved around as well. So he was on alternate ATAX, right? Back in Go, obviously
Yeah.
like the second best German team, however you want to look at it. Then he was assistant coach. Then he was interim coach when they were trying to find another coach. Then he was assistant coach again. Yeah. And now he's full coach again when he was interim coach because I met him at one event where he was like helping out. And now he's the main coach.
And
Why didn't you just make this decision first time?
yeah. And they
Like,
also
what is
brought
going on?
they brought the in-game leader from Big Academy to be their assistant coach. Freeze.
Huh?
Yeah. Like the Big Academy's in-game leader is now the
Yeah.
assistant coach to Sen on the main roster.
Jesus.
It's a bit of a I mean, they brought Process back. They've changed a bunch of
Where was
things.
Freeze?
If you read
So
the
Freeze was on, yeah,
article,
Freeze is a big academy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's okay. So one thing I'll do, which this is where it gets even more crazy, right? So let's look at process. Process has been passed around. So process, right, started on Fnatic Rising back in the We Play Academy days.
yep,
Then went to big academy to play with Germans. Then
yep.
was on the big roster. Then was then removed to the inactive role, and then put back on the big academy, and now is on the big main team. You've like thrown this guy up and down, left, right, and center, and he still somehow, some reason, stayed loyal throughout it all. Like, I really like the big guys, by the way, as in the people who run the organization, but
Yep.
this is hella messy and very confusing. QB gets taken out, but guess what? QB will take his spot in the academy team to continue his development. What is this? QB was already developed. QB was playing well before Big.
He was in Fnatic's main squad. He was in that Sangal, right?
Yeah, Sangha. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
No, it
Sangal
wasn't in
then
Sangha. Yes, he was.
Fnatic.
No, Sangha was CSGO. Sangha was
Sangal then
CSGO.
Fnatic,
That was it. I
then
didn't
Big,
do.
then
I did
Big
my first
Academy.
interview with him for Fnatic when he was at Major, or trying to qualify for Major.
But it's like Big is all over the place. They're a mess. I mean, if this doesn't work out, like, do you have any belief in the project? Like, how many things
But
do
what
they
are the
need to
other?
cycle through for to get this to work? Because at some point you gotta say, okay, hey, this isn't working. We have to make bigger changes. We have to, I don't know, find other talents that we obviously haven't looked at yet.
Let
Um,
me put this into your mind.
yeah.
So God be returns, but he's coaching the big academy. Big academy, right? look at the team they have right now.
So is that the
Two
final
Germans.
boss of coach they have to cycle through before this is
No,
gonna
no,
work
no.
again?
Because obviously they removed him as coach, right? And they cited like differences of how they want to
They
do
have been
things.
doing
A
much worse
big,
since.
big academy is two German players, one Kosovo player, one Ukrainian player. Yeah. Gobby's going to be the coach. They're looking for another player as well. So Gob levels this team up to a point where they can actually be chasing the main big roster on the VRS rankings. And then they switch again to international big.
I I
And some
I
more
mean
crazy big changes come.
I mean, the worst thing is I could see it. I could see it happening. You know,
So
we
could
had
I at
that
this
like
point.
Mouse NXT versus Mouse main squad
Yeah,
before they got promoted to the actual main squad. I could see that happening.
dude. Are they? But why would your academy team not be only German play? I know. So, for example, for people who don't
Yeah,
know,
if your
the German
whole
scene is
team
kind of
is German.
plagued. Yeah, but the German team is kind of plagued with problems. Sorry, the whole German scene because of age things, because of just not so many players coming through. There's a whole backstory to problems that German teams have to deal with, right? But Big has been your staple team for a long time. I met fans at Cologne who are like, I love Big. I'm wearing a Big jersey. But they're like, they don't see another time where they'll get them inside an arena. You know, the glory
Yeah.
days have gone. Like it's just holding on for national country pride, but that's about it. And now we're going to look at this and say your academy team might not even be German, so that's less opportunity to
But
cycle through the players, unless they're trying to do it as just selling players to other people
I
later
think
on.
that's more it because I think they're kind of riding this wave of being the best team in Germany. And that's, you know, where their income comes from, I think. I think that's just it. They have to kind of stick with German sponsors and German kind of
Hmm.
brands to keep things running. So there, it wouldn't make sense to go international if the majority wasn't German.
Yeah,
That's just how I view
no,
it.
it's so wild. Um, some of the other roster moves are not super crazy in here. Last one we can touch on is the wild card one
Yeah, this one I think
because
is so freaking. It's almost mean to a point, you know, because wildcard recall Fusi from 9. And you know what the worst part about this is?
hmm
That 9 has qualified for LAN events with Fusi,
yes,
and
with
he is
Fuzi.
not going to get to play it. I think it's all I get it's almost disgusting to me
Yeah.
because I had a couple
Wildcard,
of
by the way, keep
interviews.
making.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so tired. I'm even interrupting, but Wildcard have made some really bad organizational decisions.
Yes.
Like this, they're not on the running for worst organization, but just maybe one of the dumbest.
100%.
This is
Like
just awful.
they had a really good team with Stanislaus, Sonic, you know, Susp, Fusi,
Yeah,
and like they were on the up and up, and they went from being completely irrelevant to having a team from NA who actually went to European competitions, played in arenas, played against the big teams, and
yeah.
actually put their whole brand on the map. And then they just said it's not good enough and started firing everyone, or I don't know what happened, but
But like
so
they
weird.
at one point they were not going to have Stanislaw, and then he returned as well. Right, we already went through that part.
Yeah, but it's just
So
because they
they put him on
needed
the
a
bench, and then he
VRS.
came back. It's this is just terrible.
And the Fusi deal, it might even be the same thing that, you know,
What? So you have? Let's just let me look at the current roster. So you'd have Stan, Jaber, and Fuzi. Because isn't Sonic was? I saw a rumor or something. Sonic was supposed to go somewhere.
I think I saw that as well, but I can't remember. But it's such a weird. I don't even know where. Like I don't see them being relevant anymore. I don't see them being in a
No.
position where they can actually grind their way up. Because even imagine being a player, you're up and coming player, you're in that kind of bracket where wildcard wants their players to be. Why would you sign with
Yep.
wildcard if you see a successful team of basically only rookies with some experience, mixed, actually do really well, and they just cancel the project mid project.
Well, look at this headline. This headline was back just 2 months ago. Yeah. Sonic headline says it's not a pretty situation. It's very unfortunate for the new guys to come into a situation like that because of all the stuff that was going on with players and moving things around, you know.
Yeah.
And it just continues to get bad, and now they've screwed over nine at the same time. Okay, there's obviously a contractual thing here, right? So nine didn't have much of a choice. But yeah, after Fuji's departure following a disappointing stage one exit in Austin, Wildcard have sunk to 60th on the VRS ranking. That puts them 14th in the prospective list of major invites with 10 available for North America and South America. And then
They had a
nine, who have lost their
guaranteed
highest
spot
rated
with the old
player with this
squad.
move.
They had a
Yeah.
guaranteed spot with the old lineup, and they just threw it away. And it was stressed decisions. Yeah, I remember when when we saw this news about wildcard, like, at the break or whenever it was. I can't remember. We did a podcast about it, an
Hmm.
episode, and I just said like this just looks really stressed. Like it looks like this decision comes out of nowhere, absolutely
Also,
nowhere.
Jaber, one of the most promising North American talents, and you're just ruining him with all this bullshit. I heard that even had he'd been living in Poland. They've been working together. They've been like getting some Europe practice in. I'm just, by the way, I never read HLTV comments, but this is amazing. This guy Swona says, "What the actual fuck is Wildcard doing? If you're just gonna fuck these players' careers over, just say you will, because fucking hell, this shit is diabolical." Couldn't have said it better myself.
No, but it is. I mean,
Don't know who you are, dude, but that is 10 out of 10.
yeah, it's exactly right.
Actually,
Because I think, obviously Fusi starts practicing, plays with a team for a month or a month and a half, finding a new home. They're looking really
playing really
promising,
well. Playing really
qualifying for,
well.
yeah, playing super well, qualifying for lands, really making a tier up in the tier 2 scene from being like
Yep.
they were like rank 70. Fusi comes in, they just bump up in ranking, do super well qualifying for lands, and they don't get to play the LAN which he qualified to. I think that's it's disgusting to me. Like I would be
Yeah.
so freaking mad if that happened to me.
Unacceptable, horrible, low level shit.
It's
Let's move away from
infuriating.
the nasty stuff and the sad stuff, and we'll end the news on some very positive stuff because it's even about Swedish Counter Strike. Devilwalk.
Yay!
Male '09 is unstoppable. At just 16 years old, the Swedish prodigy has already written his name into FPL history, becoming the youngest ever triple champion.
Yep.
Dude is good.
And I forgot to add
I'm kind.
something to this. He
Oh yeah.
recently, I think it was
Oh, here we
yesterday
go.
or today, he actually took the most elo on Faceit as well. So he's number one on
Really?
Faceit right now. Um,
Oh.
and if he
How
keeps
much? How much
it,
elo is that?
he has 4,860 elo right now. And
And that's even after
if
the reset.
if he holds the top spot until the end of the season, he'll become the
Yeah.
youngest Faceit champion in history, breaking the record held by Donk by 6 months and 9 days. That's a
Dude,
if.
this is the super. By the way, does he speak good English? You Swedes
Yes.
should obviously all speak good English.
Yeah, we
All
we
right.
actually met
Okay.
him with B&E in the Godsent office.
Oh,
Stopped by.
really?
Yeah, yeah. He stopped by. We gave him some
Okay.
jerseys and stuff. Yeah.
So let me apologize in advance. Abdi, the coach of Metasport, he knows I've seen him now so many events. When I always speak to him, I love this guy,
Yeah,
but
he's
you got to
cool.
get this kid off Metasport. You got to get Mail off Metasport. He's got to go somewhere else. If he's this good at 16, he can't be staying on Metasport.
I've been hyping him
There's
up
no
as
way.
the last hope. It's like the last Jedi of Sweden.
Bro, how did he come up during such a messy time as well? Fair play to him.
Yeah.
That on its own is impressive. All the shit he's had to go through. He's
But I
watching
will
Swedish.
say
You
he
know what?
has an
Imagine.
incredible support system in his family. His dad,
Oh, really?
mom, they like been like kind of managing him, doing content for him.
Good.
Like
Did his dad play CS?
uh, I think he does now, but I think he's just like super genuine,
Yeah,
supportive guy who wants to push his son to do whatever he wants to do.
that's
Um,
dope.
he's very well known in the Swedish scene, and they have such a nice like kind of family. They watch his games, they share along, and yeah, he has a great support system. So I think that's a big reason as well why he's this young and so
Yeah,
capable is because he has a great support system in his family as well. So a little bit of a shout out to them as well.
that's epic, man. We need to see that. But yeah, I'm sorry, Medisport. He needs to go to a better team.
He needs to
You
save
got to let
Swedish
him
Counter Strike.
single handedly.
Yeah, 1v9.
Swedish donk. Swedish donk. Let's go. They can't. We can't say everyone's donk this, donk
No, no,
that,
no,
but
no.
it's damn impressive. What that? And he's 16, man. That's so good. Um, Now it's gonna be hard for me to talk about Draculan. I didn't watch any of it, but we can just quickly just say, obviously, we already said it in the show, but Fnatic won,
Yep,
and I don't know how many VRS points they gained, but like their run here, they beat Ents, Eyeballers, Monty, and then Monty again in the final, beating even the score they had previously.
yep.
In the VRS, they're now 21st, which is really good. Where are they on VRS for
So
Europe? So
before the event,
VRS,
they were at least ranked 34. I'm not sure that's.
they would get a
Uh,
stage one invite currently.
yeah, we're gonna see them at the
That's
major, man.
awesome. That's awesome. That's so needed.
And it's kind of crazy. They kind of gotten better since Mattis left. In a like better,
Yeah.
maybe it's the wrong word. They got the right opportunities at the right time now with Cypher coming in and doing well.
And the LAN events and stuff. Yeah. And all that popping up. That's positive. That's really positive for Fnatic.
Yeah,
Especially because it looked like they're an organization that would have no say in CS or nothing to show for it. If you go back with the crazy decisions.
yeah.
I actually saw Khan when I was at the Esports World Cup. Funny enough, I bumped into him and I said, "Oh, this CS team's looking better." And he's like, "Don't say it yet. Don't get too ahead of yourself." And I'm like, "No, this is looking good." Now he can say it's looking good. Now he can. All right, let's do Q&A and get this show wrapped up, mate. Let's
Yes.
get so I'll read this out because it looks like one you will be answering and more. He said, "Follow up from previous episode. I love that you've come back, Mars. Welcome back. Hey guys, follow up to my previous question. I should have been a little more specific, but mainly hoping to go into either the broadcast side, like working the camera, or in-game work, or into an analyst coaching position for a team. I definitely have the passion for CS. It's been my life since 2018. C9's win in Boston. I feel I'm fairly knowledgeable about the game, passionate for esports as a whole. Any comments or feedback, just speaking on some more hidden roles in tournament production would be greatly appreciated. Um, and one more, do you think Liquid will consider Ross changes mid-season if they continue to come up short in important games or fail to qualify for any other events? If they fail to qualify for the major, I expect to see them make a change
That's not
mid-season.
really mid-season though, but kind of, I
Yeah.
guess. It's
Well, yeah, when they get if the invites go out and they're not in the invite section,
yeah, they'll
then it has to be, right? They have to
instantly.
already be quickly on top of it. But then you also need to wait for other teams to be changing players or whatever else is going to happen, right? So it's looking dire for Liquid right now, I'll say,
Yeah.
Mr. Mars. Um, for observing work, by the way, try reach out to Chev if you can. I think he's quite responsive. He's like a down to earth
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
He's
Chev
the
is
best observer in
amazing.
the game.
Yeah, Chev is amazing.
Um, but I will say this: like, try and if you can observe at some smaller events to get some experience and show yourself. And observing is just in the quality you'll provide to make the commentators do a better job and the viewers see all the things they need to see.
But an
And it's not just catching kills.
incredibly important job.
Oh, it's so hard. And you also have to have such good game knowledge. Like, you almost have to have an idea to predict where the action's going to happen before it happens, you know?
Yeah.
and you're telling the story at the same time. Observers, I still think, are one of the least hyped up jobs, but it's one of the most important. Without good observers, like, I'll tell you this: when I was first doing CS, I was observing and commentating myself. Like I was doing both at the same time. He said working the cameras and stuff. I think I can't really touch on working the camera too much, but a lot of the camera guys I see, they've come from other sports or they know someone already. They're in like these are some old guys because you just generally there are some younger ones, but I mean
I don't think I've met anyone in
these are people who
esports
have
who
experience.
have went to camera work from esports side.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like everyone I normally meet is like camera guys, you know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. So on that bit, I'm sadly can't help. What can you add on the like analyst coaching stuff? Because that's a whole different kettle of fish. This is a very
I
wide
mean, the
skin.
analyst coaching stuff, I think you just have to join a team and, be ready to help them and see how things are gonna, shape up. And I mean, it's pure word of mouth in this game, especially in the lower kind of scene. You just
What
kind
about
of have to,
starting?
yeah, I mean, well, I'll tell you like this. I swear there are gonna be teams that don't have an analyst. You're gonna be able to
Mhm.
join them for free. Just kind of prove yourself, see how things are working out, what you can provide, how you can help them, and then eventually climb the ladder. I think you have to kind of be prepared to not get paid for you to get paid
Yeah,
eventually. If you're gonna
we've had
take
that
that route.
conversation before.
So I think you can just message people, do you need an analyst? And then you can kind of, I think most analysts, I've had a bunch of people kind of messaging me, and they usually have kind of a written report of a demo review, where
Mhm.
they kind of break down the plays and what you could counter and how you could solve some solutions to problems of facing them or how they could have done things differently. And you kind of read through that document. And one thing is also having kind of a how would you prepare the team, like, so if you know what information you would give to players or how you would show in a day-to-day basis, because there's a lot of games of Counter-Strike, let's just put it that way, and especially in the
Oh
tier 2
yes,
tier 3 scene, they're playing games every single day. So to be able to kind of quickly and concentrated give information without overwhelming people, how would you prepare
easy to
a team
digest.
for a game in an easy way to digest? Yes, and kind of
Yeah.
have that in. Just send, spam people, and maybe you'll get a good gig.
Spam within reason.
Yeah,
uh, I will say it's a good ending to the episode on that. Hopefully that helps you a bit, Mars, as well. For everyone still watching and listening, wherever you are in the world, I was low on energy. I got a mega carry from Devilwalk this time. I think this is the most I spoke over you because I'm just fried. There's like I can't do back to back days with my son into podcast into multiple nights of no sleep. I
parenting
think
is
I've had
hard.
parent. Yep. If you're gonna have kids, be ready for all of this. It doesn't get easier. He's 9 now and still doesn't get easier. Dropped by the way to sleep on the bed, like on our bed, and I was just jealous looking at him like, "Oh, yeah, it's easy for you. Just sit there and just snuggle up and go to bed. Like, got nothing else you need to do or worry about." Yeah, that's just it. But yeah, apologies for me on low energy for this one. But next episode we'll be back firing on all cylinders. I'll be back at home as well. Maybe we film from I don't know. No, I won't even say what
I
we're gonna do
might
yet.
have a new
But
camera.
oh, you might. Yeah, hopefully,
Might.
hopefully. And then the other thing I was gonna say is, oh yeah, we're like nearly 750,000 views on YouTube. A lot of that's also people watching on the shorts and stuff as well. So if you're enjoying the short content, please let us know in the comments because I know people listen to this and give us some feedback. If you're liking the short content and stuff like that, we'll keep pumping it out. Seems to be working. Just
And
easier
if
digestible.
you
People
really
love the
want short
TikTok and
content, you
stuff.
should go to our TikTok,
Oh yes.
because
You know what
we
the TikTok
want
is?
more. Huh?
Do you remember what the TikTok is?
It's all about CS podcast.
There we go. Thank you very much, Devil. Yeah. So follow that, subscribe. All of it means so much. Like we're constantly growing, we're constantly evolving. We still dream and plan to eventually, probably next year, maybe after a year of doing the podcast, do a live show as well, an event. We'll wait and see how it happens. Hopefully do an in-person one soon as well. We'll have to wait, but big plans always. And we'll have our next guest on within the month, I think, from what we're thinking
Yeah.
from your recent conversations.
Yes. Hopefully, we will have another guest within this
We got some
month.
plans. We got some
We'll
plans.
probably have to
It
talk
should be
about that
good.
once we end this actual episode.
Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, well, thank you very much for watching. As always, this has been the All About Counter Strike podcast, episode 24. Like, subscribe, look after yourselves, enjoy Blast, Open London playoffs. It's going to be epic in the OVO Arena. I'm looking forward to seeing all the crazy British fans out there. And stay safe, keep playing Counter Strike, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.